First of all, I want to congratulate the Honourable Marama Davidson both for this bill, and also good to see you back in the House. It is important. All of our health is really, really important, so great to see you back here. This bill is about amending the current Consumer Guarantees Act. At the moment, consumers have the right, when something goes wrong, to replace, to get a refund, or to repair. But there is an opt-out, and what it says is, what the current legislation says, that under Section 42, if the manufacturer, the retailer says, actually we're not going to repair, they can opt out of that, and so there is no right to repair. The bill seeks to remove that option to opt out of repair by repealing that Section 42, which means that manufacturers or retailers would then be responsible for repair if that is reasonable. The bill requires manufacturers and retailers to provide repair parts, tools and information to consumers within a reasonable time of purchase. And obviously that's going to depend on what the nature of the product is. Some products are going to be long life, some products are going to be short life, so that's going to vary. It was interesting to get advice about what the international experience is, and this is a relatively new proposition, and so we're going to have to see how it goes internationally. But my understanding is that our friends from Federated Farmers have actually just left at the moment. But my understanding is that it was started in the USA when farmers were getting pretty grumpy, coming John Deere, with their ability to be able to service and repair their tractors, and then it took a lot longer to get their tractors back into operation, which obviously is a significant impost on business. It's also now significant in the EU, growing in the EU, and also in Australia. So the question is it also something which we should be looking for in New Zealand? Look, I've been engaged by proponents on the right to repair legislation last year. I acknowledge Paul Smith from Fixed First, who's in the gallery at the moment. Good to see you here, Paul. Look, the principle is a good principle. We heard from my colleague Dan Bidwar that the devil is in the detail, and that's right. The question is, do you try and fix the detail now, or do you wait for soon, wherever soon might be, and then have a go at fixing that whenever that might be, next term or the term after, or whenever it might be? The general view that I've got, and that is from proponents of the legislation, people who support the legislation, is it does need to be narrowed. It can't be every product. The product that is worth $20, if you say it's going to cost $100 to fix, that makes no sense whatsoever. And so generally it seems that the experience that's been overseas, it is the bigger, more complicated products, your tractors, your cars, your whiteware, your computer products. I'm told Winston's mower. Those are the kind of products, that was important in our caucus, those are the kind of products that are relevant to this bill. So narrowing it up is really, really important. But the other thing is, this is also about the Consumer Guarantees Act. And at the moment, the Consumer Guarantees Act doesn't provide an answer to our farmers. Because a consumer is defined in the Consumer Guarantees Act as a person who acquires from a supplier goods or services of a kind ordinarily acquired for personal, domestic or household use or consumption. That is not a tractor. So in some places we've got to narrow the legislation as proposed, in other places we might need to broaden it. But the proposition here is, why not let the people who know about these things have a say? Tell us what they think the legislation ought to look like, so the devil that is in the detail can be fixed. And that is the position that New Zealand First is taking. So we're going to support this legislation. We're going to support this legislation at its first reading. It doesn't mean that we'll support it beyond that, but it does mean that we want to try and see. It does mean, Madam Speaker. God, they got very excited over there. It does mean, Madam Speaker, that we want to see that detail fixed. If that detail can be fixed, then maybe we support it at the second reading and beyond. If it can't be, then we don't. So, Madam Speaker, look, back to the legislation there. Look, this is about better resource use. And who hasn't got frustrated by, you've got a product there, it's a complicated product, and you want it to work, and one small bit breaks. And because you can't repair that small bit, the whole thing's got to be thrown out. Now, that's a terrible situation to be in. What about the potential to build repair capacity? Who doesn't love that small shop that can fix almost anything? And this might give those small shops the ability not only to fix the new stuff that's protected under this legislation, but also to protect old stuff, simply because they're able to exist, to be able to do that kind of work. So I think it's more likely that these repair shops might be able to exist, and they're gold. Might make us a little bit more resilient as well, Madam Speaker. And the evidence seems to be so far, early evidence, that it will make products cheaper, not only for the consumer, but also for the manufacturer. On the flip side, we don't want to be too onerous for businesses. We need to get our economy working, and clearly, as I said, repairing some of those smaller products won't work. So on balance, we support this legislation to go through the first reading, and we look forward to what feedback we get through the select committee process. I commend the bill to the House.
And we do have some good news on the Economic, Science and Innovation Committee. New Zealand First does have an MP on it. And on that and it's a 4-4 committee, so it's got 1 Act, 2 National, 1 New Zealand First, which is government, and 3 Labour and 1 Green MP in that mix. So whatever amendments go forward with it will suddenly go from a 4-4 to a 5-3 ratio, which will then possibly, at least New Zealand First can help advance the bill past second reading.
What is NZ First doing with this woke immigrant agreeing with the Green Party and Ricardo? This is very woke behaviour.
Remembering how well it worked with the Greens in 2017. From 2017 to 2020.
Yeah, I mean, Andy is like the woke warrior of the right wing. But Andy is right about John Deere, by the way. That's again, please watch the video that I have linked in the chat. It is a very good video.
Yeah.
And maybe he watched it. Maybe.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.